Chapter 661 Kill two birds with one stone. Therefore, the person who spread this news also brought several representatives who had already held high positions in the country of water and lived a very rich life to explain the specific process to them. When they heard this kind of news, they were already very moved. When these representatives said it, they were completely moved. Never thought that this would be a trap. For them, it doesn't matter whether it is a trap or not. It's important that they get out of here quickly. They've had enough here. But everyone who just had this idea, when they think of the defense of the current trade port area, Hamishima, can't help but start to back off. But the delegates lined up to assure them that if they couldn't figure it out, they didn't want the money. This guarantee made them even more excited. Also more convinced of these representatives. So, after the representative told them the corresponding method. On a dark and windy night, under the leadership of the representatives, a group of them left Hamishima safely. Ha ha ha, it's finally out. Damn Shajir-Ching, you wait for me, wait until the labor and capital develop, and see how I kill you. As soon as they walked out of the frontier gate of Hamishima, these people suddenly became excited, and they all cursed aloud. As if to vent all the anger in his heart. But their voices were probably too loud, and they immediately caught the attention of the border guards. That representative quickly left with everyone. From a distance, you could hear the screams of the frontier guards coming from behind. Let these desperate people in Hamishima feel more and more that the representatives who lead them to a great future are really capable. Hamishima Management Department. Isn't it inappropriate to just let them go? A consortium representative looked at Shajir-Ching with his hands on his back, and asked a little apprehensively. It doesn't matter, I have already arranged everything. The worst result is that they will be wiped out, and it will not cause much trouble. Shajir-Ching said without looking back, calm and confident. After dealing with these matters in Hamishima, Shajir-Ching asked people to investigate the troubles of the bastards. Then, I found the figure of the person in charge of the wealthy port of the country of water. After learning the news, Shajir-Ching immediately came up with a way to kill with a knife. Being calculated by others and not taking revenge is not his style. First of all, send all the stubborn members of Hamishima to Fugi Port to solve the unstable factors within Hamishima. Then, use them to bring down those in power in Fugigang. In the end, for those stubborn elements who have no use value, even if the land of water does not kill them, Shajir-Ching will not let them go. Their unstable factors are a scourge to keep. Don't worry, you won't fail, trust me. Hearing Shajir-Ching say this, the representatives naturally have no opinion. Probably these people wouldn't have thought that they were just chess pieces from beginning to end, and they were the ones who threw themselves into the sea of fire. The representative of the Sasaki Consortium had an inexplicable expression on his face. When they get there, if they find out they have been deceived, there is no way they can leave there. And, after the situation will get worse, it will probably collapse directly. Another representative of a consortium took a sip of tea with a playful smile on his face. Chapter 662 Earn money together. They are dead, and they are only dead. Rebelling against Lord Shajir-Ching and harming the interests of Bangdao, did they think they can still be safe? He is another representative of a consortium, but his murderous intent is awe-inspiring. The land of water, the rich port. Ha ha ha, I know how powerful Shajir-Ching is. It turned out to be just a paper tiger with a stubbornness, and it just looks scary. It's a shame that we have been frightened by this paper tiger for so long. But it doesn't matter, starting today, we are about to start our new life. Yes, a new life is waiting for us. When the time comes, when you and I are both rich and successful, we will invest in the country of fire and apply to go to Hamishima. Ha ha ha, I can come as I want, and what about him, Shajir-Ching? He can only hold his nose and admit it, and let me do whatever I want. Although the people are full of dust, their spirits are abnormally high and passionate. It's as if each of them will become a great person in the future. As for the 100,000 yen that needs to be paid, they don't care at all. Who doesn't have a 100,000 yen fortune? Besides, this kind of thing is so difficult, isn't it normal to spend 100,000 yen? They even felt that 100,000 yen was too little. It's just that the representative told them that if you have money, everyone will make it together. Therefore, I gave them a lot of discounts, so that what originally required 1,000,000 to do became 100,000. And this makes these people more convinced of these representatives. After these people landed and registered their names, they all entered Fugi Harbor. No one noticed that after they had completely entered, 2 soldiers at the gate of the city nodded to each other, and a trace of contempt flashed in their eyes. Brothers, the certificates we issued are sometimes disapproved by some officials of the Land of Water, or they make things difficult. Then what should we do at this time? There is no other way, that is to make trouble, organize a parade to make trouble. Only by drawing attention can those officials be forced to realize the seriousness of the matter. Only we'll give up making things difficult for us, don't recognize it, and successfully get the job. Also, don't be afraid that you won't be able to clean up after the trouble, we are behind you. If it's a big deal, let's go to the Fire Country Daimyo together. I believe that the Water Country Daimyo will not want to offend the Fire Country Daimyo. Do you think so? In some big room, someone who looks very shrewd is teaching these people a lesson. Yes, that's right. That's it. That's right. When these people heard it, they were excited, and their hearts were right. They are the best at things like demonstrations. Then, the shrewd man told them many, many things. After talking for a full afternoon, these people have reached an unprecedented new height of excitement. After that, the shrewd men signed their respective appointment letters for them one by one. Then, tell them to go to various high-paying places in Fugigang early tomorrow morning to devote themselves to it. These people take it for granted. After a good night of tossing, these people fell asleep beautifully, and even some people were so excited that they couldn't sleep at all. They didn't find out, it was right next door to them. Those representatives, as well as that shrewd man, all had cat-and-mouse smiles on their faces at the moment. Chapter 663 Murder with a Knife. One of them said in a low voice, as expected of Mr. Shajir-ching, the means are indeed brilliant. It is wonderful to use a knife to kill people. The man in the middle grinned Isho. Next, let's see the news of the second team. When they gave the information to the person in charge of the wealthy port and the name of the Land of Water, I wonder how they would react. It's really exciting. The person in power who wants to come to Fugigang is going to have bad luck. The man on the right said with a face full of schadenfreude. What's more, there are these idiots who are blocking him. The man in the middle, hey, when the time comes, these people will be found to have forged appointment letters. No matter how quibble they make, they will be dead. And, I believe, the person in power in Fugigang will not hope that these people are still living under his nose. After all, this is the biggest witness. It represents the irrefutable proof that he once destroyed the Order of Hamishima. But it is too late for him to destroy the evidence. We have already obtained the specific personnel transfer evidence and the content of the negotiation. The accusation of the person in charge of Fugigang disrupting the Order of Hamishima will eventually fall on him, and he cannot escape. The so-called misfortunes are drawn to the east, and the use of a knife to kill is probably this feeling. They are all very excited. Don't look at how simple this scheme is. Behind the scenes, these elite guards received orders from Shajir-ching. But it took several days non-stop to master the key evidence. Then, the entire chain of evidence was perfected, and this is what it is today. But they also have to admire that this rich and noble person in power is really cunning enough. Because the people he invited to disrupt the Order of Hamishima came from all over the country of water. There are in Fugigang, and there are in other places. This looks quite real and will not be easily targeted. Moreover, he never appeared in person from beginning to end. It has always been handed over to some ronin to convey it. If their guards were not attentive enough, there might not have been a chance to get the plan to destroy the Order of Hamishima, and the correspondence between him and the Ronin. And these are all key evidences. Without these, it is simply not enough to make the rich and powerful people in Hong Kong die. Fortunately, everything went well. The next day. The fact is, as they planned to develop, those who held the fake appointment letter were rejected, and they started to demonstrate according to the method handed to them by the guards. The demonstrations have indeed increased their attention. But this concern is not benign. On the contrary, it is a poison that directly pushes them into the abyss. Because they are suspected of forging appointment letters and intending to occupy the public resources of the country of water, they have already caused a certain degree of damage to the order of the country of water. Therefore, they were taken to prison, waiting for hair to fall. Not a single one fell. Now, it's these people's turn to be dumbfounded. They never imagined that things would turn out like this in the end. Doesn't it mean that demonstrations can solve the problem, and then occupy a high position and eat spicy food? Why was he suddenly arrested? This is not right. This is not the same as negotiating. At this time, they didn't realize that they were deceived. And the person in charge of Fugaigang now only feels cold all over. Looking at the information in front of him, his body couldn't help trembling, his face was pale, and he was sweating constantly. He was terrified. Chapter 664 Bunch of Idiots. This document describes in detail the whole process of how he deliberately sent people to Hamashima to disrupt the order of Hamashima and cause turmoil. The chain of evidence is complete and fits perfectly. It's as real as you see it with your own eyes. He knew very well that if this kind of thing was stabbed out, he would be dead. A hat that destroys the country's economic and friendly exchanges and tries to cause a war in the ninja world will definitely fall on him. For such a big crime, even if he has 9 heads, it is not enough to chop off. He doesn't want to die, so the best thing he should do now is to execute those caught in it. In this way, at least he is dead here without proof. And Hamashima, even if those people say that there is such a thing, he can quibble that it is the enemy's slander. Therefore, without any hesitation, this person in power named De Quankang immediately signed the order to execute those people. Sha Zhiqing, you are too cruel. De Quankang's eyes were full of panic, and he gritted his teeth. If this matter had nothing to do with Sha Zhiqing, he would write his name upside down. He believes that if this content can appear in him, it will definitely appear in the daimyo. If the daimyo finds out about this kind of thing, and he is caught on the spot again, he will be finished. However, what frightened De Quankang was that he told him that those people were rescued. At that time, his legs were so frightened that his face was bloodless. What is a thunderbolt? This is. It's just that I can't wait for him to react. The special messenger from the land of water daimyo is here. He was controlled on the spot, and he was charged with the major crime of destroying the friendly cooperation and exchanges between the two countries, and affecting world peace, and took him away like this. And those few people, after being rescued by their representatives, learned that De Quankang was going to kill them. Immediately, he was even more angry. They vowed to fight De Quankang to the end. They want De Quankang to pay the price. It's okay to slander them for forging appointment letters, and kill them. Are they really bullying? But I never thought that they had only left for a few minutes before being surrounded by people from the land of water. Then, those representatives were all helpless, and just like that, they were all captured. Then, they were all brought to the land of water. After some testimony, De Quankang was completely planted, deprived of all his freedom, and a slave all his life. And those few people thought that they and others could testify in meritorious deeds, plus they could get some rewards for being wronged. In this way, they can justifiably ask the country of water to admit their appointment letter, cancel their forgery letter of appointment charge, and let them embark on a wonderful journey of eating and drinking. But the words of the Minister of Officials sent them directly into the abyss. Stupid thing, don't you know that you are being played as a chess piece by now? Being cheated of money and counting money, I have never seen you stupid people. Originally, it can still be seen for the sake of your testimonies, and you will not be held accountable. But since you are so stupid that you have to admit it yourself, then I have no choice, just wait to die. After listening to these words, if they haven't realized that they have been deceived, they are really stupid. Sha Zhiqing. They thought of Sha Zhiqing in an instant. Only then did they understand why they were able to escape from Hamishima so smoothly. It turned out that all this was arranged by Sha Zhiqing. Too bad it's too late now. Chapter 665 Jasmine is attacked. Hamishima. The things that should be dealt with have been dealt with almost, then the next things will be handed over to you. I'm just bothering you guys. After Sha Zhiqing gave a few simple instructions, he left Konoha village. This guy Sha Zhiqing really can stir up the storm no matter where he is. This method is really terrible. Naturally, Namikaze Minato also knows about the relationship between Hamishima and Fugaigang. Thinking of such a person, he is still in the high level of Konoha. Moreover, with strong strength, strong power, and amazing financial resources, he felt a little panic inexplicably. During the time that Sha Zhiqing left the village, he really felt an unprecedented peace. But as soon as Sha Zhiqing came back, that feeling was gone. It will only turn into a deep worry. He was worried that Sha Zhiqing would become the next Danzo. Sha Zhiqing's threat is more than that of Danzo. Fortunately, the existence of Jiraiya gave him a lot of peace of mind. Moreover, the existence of Jasmine also gave him a lot of confidence. At least, Jasmine's heart is towards Konoha and Hokage. With this relationship, the relationship with Sha Zhiqing should be able to ease a lot. It's just that sometimes I'm afraid of what to do. Lord Naruto, the medical ninja who helped Konoha in the village of Sandy Inn, was attacked on his way back to the country of ghosts. Anbu brought such a very bad news to Minato Namikaze. Namikaze Minato knew too well how important Jasmine was to Sha Zhiqing. She was attacked, which was undoubtedly a bolt from the blue. The ghost knows how furious Sha Zhiqing will be when he finds out about this. If Sha Zhiqing is angry, the whole Konoha may be implicated. Hurry up and send someone to support. Namikaze Minato didn't even think about it, and quickly made a decision. But Jiraiya-sama who went to support was also hit hard. This Anbu once again brought a thunderbolt to Minato Namikaze. What did he hear? Jiraiya was also hit hard. Etc. Namikaze Minato suddenly reacted and asked hastily, "That means, this news is already a few days ago, right?" Anbu nodded. Namikaze Minato couldn't help but let out a long sigh. He couldn't help but feel a little discouraged. Jiraiya has been hit hard. How strong is the attacker? Moreover, since it was a few days ago, then, what is the current situation of Jasmine? There is absolutely no way to know. If Jasmine had 3 strengths and 2 weaknesses, he wouldn't even know how to explain it to Sha Zhiqing. He couldn't guarantee what Sha Zhiqing would do when he was angry. Sha Zhiqing's anger has never been quelled by only Jasmine. The identity of his Hokage is completely unusable. Who is the enemy? Minato Namikaze now needs to figure out where his enemies are coming from so he can make a decision. It is said that the man called himself a sprite. Anbu replied aloud, extremely brief. A sprite. Hearing this answer, Minato Namikaze couldn't help falling into deep thought. This enemy, he has never heard of it. This made him frown. Don't think about it, Hokage-sama, this is a monster that existed in ancient times. Only the first Hokage Senju Hashirama played against him back then. This matter, the 3 generations of Hokage should have told you, but I never thought that his old man was unfortunately killed. So, you don't know about it now. Chapter 666 _ The Origin of Sprites. Okay, don't bother you anymore, I can go there myself. Since everyone is looking for trouble to find me, and I don't come forward to deal with it, wouldn't it make people laugh at me shrinking my head? Sha Zhiqing's voice came from outside the door, not tepid and indifferent. But Namikaze Minato heard a hint of dissatisfaction. Looking at Shajur-Ching, who pushed in the door, Minato smiled helplessly. "This matter, I can only trouble you." It has to be said that although Minato Namikaze is afraid that Shajur-Ching will become an existence like Danzo with a big tail, but when Shajur-Ching really stood in front of him, he had a feeling that his thoughts might be wrong. Is this man who looks righteous and has made outstanding contributions to the development of Konoha, that kind of person? "Give me a few passes," Shajur-Ching said in a succinct manner. Namikaze Minato didn't ask Shajur-Ching why he needed more than one pass, so he quickly took out 4. He knew who Shajur-Ching would bring. Shajur-Ching unexpectedly glanced at Minato, and then, after accepting it, he walked out of the Hokage office. Alas! After Shajur-Ching left, Minato couldn't help but sigh. His Hokage, in front of Shajur-Ching's advisor, has no majesty at all. It's a bit of a failure. Just this sprite, what the hell is it? Namikaze Minato couldn't help frowning and came to the Konoha archives. Since the 3 generations of Hokage know about this, it must be able to inquire here. But why does he know about sprites? What is his origin? Namikaze Minato was very curious. Where did Shajur-Ching know about the Sphinx? How did Shajur-Ching know something that Naruto didn't even know about him? This guy is really mysterious, but it is because of this that I am even more afraid of you. No one wants to have someone under their control that they can't control. This feeling is very uncomfortable. Even if the integrity is like a wave of wind and water, there are several times that he can't help but think about it. Because Namikaze Minato is completely unpredictable, will Shajur-Ching cause damage to Konoha? Even if he is very beneficial to Konoha now. Shajur-Ching is here. When he came to the gate of the wood industry, the 3 of Anmura Nobumi were already waiting for him. After Shajur-Ching set off, he took them away from Konoha. This time, our mission target is the Land of Ghosts. For specific information, wait until the Kingdom of Ghosts to find out. At present, there is only one enemy that can be identified. Shajur-Ching briefly introduced the situation. "What's the origin of this sprite?" Nobuomi Yasun asked aloud. The sprite, it is said to be a super strong monster in ancient times, born of the energy of evil thoughts in people's hearts. In the former Sengoku era, I once fought against the first Hokage Senju, but was defeated and escaped, and was later sealed by the first witch of the Land of Ghosts. The last time the sprite escaped was more than 10 years ago. It was sealed by Maitreya, the old witch in the Land of Ghosts. I didn't expect that he would break the seal so quickly. Shajur-Ching introduced a little knowledge in his head to Anmura Shinmi and the others. He was thinking in his heart, according to the plot in the original book, the sprite should have been released in Konoha's 63rd year. Why is it 7 years earlier? No one could answer Shajur-Ching's doubts. Chapter 667. You are a scourge. Konoha Village. The Undead Army. The Millennium Empire. Is this the sprite? It's really powerful with overwhelming strength. No wonder Master Jiraiya failed. Namikaze Minato finally found the origin of the Sphinx on the knowledge scroll. Looking at the Hydra-like monster on the scroll in front of him, Minato Minamikaze couldn't help narrowing his eyes. Then why are you attacking the convoy where Jasmine is? How can these medical ninjas be attracted to them? Place. Quote. Namikaze Minato's question is also Shajur-Ching's question. Jiraiya's kind of powerhouse didn't arrest him after being severely wounded, so why did he arrest his elder sister Jasmine? Is there anything about Jasmine that attracts that sprite? Spider, you'd better make sure my sister Jasmine is okay, otherwise, you'll just die. A strong murderous intent flashed in Shajur-Ching's eyes. I want your undead monster to become a real dead thing. Millennium Empire. It's a good idea. Shajur-Ching can only say that she really thinks too much about this idea. Millennium Empire. To underestimate the ability of human growth. Even if he succeeds, even if all human beings become weak chickens, it will only take a few hundred years to kill him. Not to mention today's ninja world, there are outstanding people everywhere. Ghost Country. Ha ha ha, Xian, I didn't expect that at such a time, I would break the seal. It's really thanks to this body, the life energy is sufficient, and it also has the pure yang attribute chakra that is not one in millions. This kind of thing is a big tonic for me. A certain woman with an evil face looked at the terrified little girl in front of her and said proudly. Look closely, isn't this demonic woman's face the same as Jasmine? Spider, how could you appear at such a time? Shouldn't you be sealed? An LT, P and GT. This little girl, the witch of the ghost country generation, Xian looked at Jasmine in front of her, and was incomparably horrified. Ha ha ha, it's really thanks to someone under you who released the felon Huang Quan. Otherwise, how could I possibly have a chance to see the sun again? Jasmine, who was possessed, said with excitement on her face. Yellow Spring. Hearing Ji Jin's answer, Ziyuan and the people behind her couldn't help looking angrily at the pale man behind Ji Jin who looked like a sick patient, gnashing his teeth. Why do you look at me like this? Xian, I do this just to make the land of ghosts run by more capable people. Do you think that with your ability, you can revive the country of ghosts? Look at the outside world, the 5 major countries have begun to nibble and divide up a small country like ours. Every time I see you at such a critical juncture, yet still clinging to the crises, standing still and watching them divide up, indifferent, I get angry. Trash like you doesn't deserve to sit in that position at all, so, in order not to let you miss the country, I had to come by myself. Next, I will cooperate with Lord Sphinx to build a large army of undead. Then, destroy all the forces that oppose us and rule the world. Huang Quan said with a frenzied expression. You fart, people like you will only bring disaster to the country of ghosts. The chaos of 10 years ago has already proved your wolf ambition. Chapter 668 Sprite, you are dead. Don't try to deceive your highness the witch, after all, you Huang Quan is just a self-righteous idiot and a megalomaniac. Just you want to rule the world, you can't. You can't have that ability. Your existence is a scourge, and Maitreya Miko should have killed you more than 10 years ago. A man dressed as a priest guarding Xian yelled angrily. It's been so many years, Toichiro, you're still so stubborn. But what if you are against it now? Can you stop me? Not only you, but also the witch, must die today. Huang Quan's face was full of excitement, and his eyes were full of hideousness. Then, he ordered the massacre to the people behind him. Die. A group of people who couldn't wait for a long time, immediately rushed to the witch Xian. Protect your highness the Miko. Wadichiro and the others watched this scene and hurried forward. But with a few of them, how could it be possible to stop Huang Quan's wolf-like subordinates? But in a few seconds, with the screams, Wadichiro and the others all fell into a pool of blood, and Xian was also exposed to the cold blade. Am I going to die? Ziyuan was not afraid at all, but looked relieved. For her, death is a good destination instead. Otherwise, seeing some mortal people die in front of her every day, but she can do nothing, is really a maddening thing. But she didn't know that there was someone more crazy than him. Sprite. A roar, accompanied by a monstrous domineering aura, rolled over and even burst the windows. Boom boom boom. The group of people I saw who had already slashed their swords towards Ziyuan turned their eyes away and fell to the ground. Even Huang Quan couldn't help but his face turned pale, and he snorted, a little unable to bear this power. I saw a young man with a face full of murderous intent, hunting in his robes, exuding unimaginable murderous intent, coming. Behind him, 3 young people also appeared one after another. After seeing the situation at the scene, they couldn't help but be startled. How could this happen? Lord Jasmine, why? One of the girls in white looked at all this in front of her with shock on her face. It's Yasunami Nobuomi. And that young man with a face full of murderous intent, besides Shajir-Ching, who else could it be? Oh yo, Shajir-Ching, are you finally here? It's a pity, you came too late, your sister has no hope. Looking at Shajir-Ching with a face full of murderous intentions, the spry was not in a hurry. Spider, you are very good, my sister, you dare to move. Shajur-Ching raised his head and saw that his eyes turned from black to scarlet, and the three-hooked jade spun very fast. The sprite was shocked to see this scene. Then, the breath of Shajur-Ching strengthened again, and rolling chakra was injected into Shajur-Ching's head. The three-hooked jade finally merged into a pattern with an outer circle and an inner diamond. It turned out to be a kaleidoscope. Shajur-Ching's eyes turned from three-go jade to a kaleidoscope. The coercion on his body has been strengthened several times again. How could you have such a thing? Spooky pointed at Shajur-Ching in surprise. He never thought that Shajur-Ching would have a writing wheel. And, it's a kaleidoscope. This made some bad memories pop up in his mind. Back then, there was also a person who had such ruthless and indifferent scarlet eyes. That person once pressed the sprite on the ground and rubbed it. Chapter 669. You have only one dead end. Then there is no need to tell you. All I know is that you are dead today. Shajur-Ching grinned Isho, extremely ferocious, with murderous intent on his body. Everyone at the scene of direct oppression all groaned and stepped back. This kind of oppression that even the air is blurred and trembling is really terrifying. It was as if everything around him had become an asura hell, a scarlet, killing every step of the way. As strong as Anmura Nobuomi, she couldn't help but be full of despair. There is absolutely no heart to resist. Ha ha ha, I'm dead. Shajur-Ching, do you dare to attack your sister? Hearing Shajur-Ching's words, the sprout laughed, and the laughter was extraordinarily arrogant. Humph, do you think you can escape by hiding in my sister's body? Shajur-Ching's extremely gloomy voice suddenly sounded from behind the sprite. Shajur-Ching couldn't help but be startled. She turned around and saw Shajur-Ching forming a seal at a very high speed, and pressing her 5 fingers on the chest of Jasmine's corpse with flaming flames. Dharma seal of dispelling evils. Shajur-Ching roared, and a heavy and repressed force burst out. As soon as I heard a scream, a black-blue energy body flew out of Jasmine's body. A piece of black text spread like ants on Jasmine's body. Finally, on her chest and her heart, they were connected to each other, forming a word, chi, wrapped in a circle. How is it possible that you can directly strip me from the human body without destroying the hostage's body structure at all? Shajur-Ching looked at Shajur-Ching and made an unbelievable voice. There are so many things you can't believe. Sprite, use your life to make amends for my sister. Shajur-Ching rushed in front of the sprite, and slashed out with a sword. Ah! The sprite couldn't dodge in time, so a section of his body was cut off, and he screamed suddenly. You guy, even planted a ban on the sword. The sprite shouted in a panic, and then everyone saw that the long sword in Shajur-Ching's hand was also wrapped with a layer of black text. In order to deal with you without a body, this works. You without a body are nothing to me. Shajur-Ching had already bullied himself to the front of the sprite, and the long sword was swung out, and the cove light was like light. Just above the sprite's soul body again, a long opening was torn open. Even if it has an entity, the strength of the sprite is only equal to that of the 9 tails. What's more, there is no entity now, and the face is still the kaleidoscope Shajur-Ching. He can't have a chance. Ah! The sprite screamed again, and he drank angrily. Bastard, do you really think I am easy to bully? Undead Legion, come out. As an ancient monster, an old monster who has lived for hundreds of years, the strength is naturally good. After a powerful wave, the armored warrior made of mud broke the floor and rose from the ground. PFF'd. But these warriors had just appeared, and their bodies were directly cut off. Then, a phantom flew out from Shajur-Ching's sleeve and landed everywhere. But I saw a piece of kunai with a talisman inscribed with incantations. Spider, pay the price for your behavior. Shajur-Ching's hands quickly formed a seal, and a phantom-like incantation quickly came out, and then, it became an area. The sprite suddenly seemed to realize something and wanted to leave the area shrouded in kunai. Chapter 670 Roller Level Victory. But I'm thinking about leaving now, it's too late, sprite. Shajur-Ching gave a loud shout, and chakra burst out. The incantation area that I saw suddenly glowed, and it turned into a bright pattern and rose up, turning it into a cover to trap the sprite inside. Ah! The sprite slammed into it and made a burning sound. He even screamed and suffered heavy injuries. Spirit catching array, success. Shajirqing's eyes were cold as he looked at the sprite and said this. This look made Shiji shudder. He wanted to escape, but found that no matter where he was, he couldn't escape. No matter how he collided, how much movement it caused. Even if the ground bursts and the air twists, no matter how fierce his might or how terrifying his chakra power is, he can't break free from this hood. Despair has come. Huang Quan, when will you and your subordinates see you? Helpless, Sprite can only put the last hope on Huang Quan. Yes, spooky big. Huang Quan was about to rush forward when he heard the words, when a thunder gun suddenly shot out of his chest, piercing through it with a bang. Ah! The manic thunderbolt instantly snatched Huang Quan's action, causing him to collapse to the ground with support. Boom! And Huang Quan's 4 subordinates were also stopped by Anqu Nobuomi, and they said, "You can't let you spoil the good deeds of teacher Shajirqing." And the witch, Xian, looked at Shajirqing like a god. That is the monster that their witch clan needs to use their lives to seal for generations. It was like this, easily cleaned up by Shajirqing. Too strong. Just like a god. Spider, next, I'll let you understand what pain and despair are. Shajirqing flew out a seal scroll with a big seal on it, and there was a circle of gossip patterns around it, and a depressing breath that made the scalp numb came out. Receive. He shouted, and the word, seal, on the scroll suddenly lit up. Then, a strong suction force erupted, and the trapped scorpion was sucked in. No. The sprites resisted and shouted in panic, but it didn't work. From beginning to end, there was absolutely no room for resistance. It was put into the scroll. And Huang Quan's 3 subordinates have also been subdued. From beginning to end, there is no splash. Nico Xian, could you please lend me a room for me? When Shajirqing turned around, her eyes had returned to normal. She looked at Ziyuan with a spring breeze, and asked. Can. And Ziyuan obviously hasn't gotten out of Shajirqing's heroic posture just now, and she feels a little stupid. But Shajirqing didn't have time to care about his expression, and ordered the 3 of Anqu Nobume to bring Huang Quan and some of his subordinates here, and then isolated Ziyuan and his guards. Nico-sama, this guy is too rude. Looking at Shajirqing's behavior, the guard who rushed over said to Ziyuan with great dissatisfaction. It's okay, anyway, he is the one who saved me. However, Ziyuan shook his head, with a trace of inexplicable affection flashing in his eyes, and said indifferently. In the room. Writing wheel eyes and eliminating memory. Shajirqing directly turned on the kaleidoscope writing wheel, and launched an illusion that could read memory. Huang Quan's sudden release from prison ahead of schedule is really weird. Chapter 671 Danzo's Ambition. He wanted to see if there was anything unusual in this guy's memory. Not to mention, after this investigation, Shajirqing's face instantly turned gloomy. He really found it. Very good, very good. Since you are courting death, don't blame me. Shajirqing conducted a memory search on Huang Quan's 4 subordinates in turn, and then got another very useful news. Let me just say, how could Huang Quan be suddenly released from the prison in the country of ghosts? It turns out that you're making a fool of yourself, Danzo. Very good, you're courting death, I'll fulfill you. Shajirqing dropped the few people who had rolled their eyes and drooled, and their faces had become extremely gloomy. Coupled with his scarlet eyes, it is really a killing god alive, and his power is like a prison, unfathomable. Teacher Shajirqing, you said this matter has something to do with that guy in Danzo. When Anmura Nobumi heard Shajirqing's words, she couldn't help but be taken aback. Who else could it be except him? I didn't expect that, instead of provoke him, he would provoke me instead. Well, this time, I will let him remember forever and provoke my end. Shajurching gave a very positive answer and asked Ma Joro to take Huang Quan away, then pushed the door and walked out. The moment he went out, he had returned to his normal state. He expressed his gratitude to the shrine maiden Qian, then picked up Jasmine's body and left. The spooky incident in the land of ghosts is solved like this. Teacher Shajurching, this doesn't seem to be going back to Konoha. On the way, looking at the direction where Shajurching was going, Fujino Ling couldn't help but ask in doubt. Of course it's not going back to Konoha. There are some old friends waiting for us. Why don't we go and see you? It's a shame to keep them waiting so long. Shajurching grinned, revealing an extremely cold smile, saying. Seeing the smile on the corner of Shajurching's mouth, everyone couldn't help shivering. Konoha Village. Shajurching, you should have been fighting with sprites by this time. You must never have imagined that this matter was planned by me, and it was also my idea that Jasmine was kidnapped. Of course my goal can't be the stupid woman Jasmine, but to use her to attract you. Danzo sat upright in the position of the former leader of the Root organization, with a terrifying light and killing intent in his eyes. He said in a low voice, when you arrive in the country of ghosts, Huang Quan and sprites will have a fierce battle with you. The strength of sprites is also rare in the world, so you can't gain the upper hand soon. In this way, he will draw you into the trap set by those who ambushing me according to my plan. At that time, all your chakras will be sealed. Speaking of this, the corners of his mouth were lightly raised, and he was extremely proud. At that time, you were just a lamb to be slaughtered, and you could only be slaughtered by sprites. With such a good body as Shajurching, I must be quite satisfied. That way, I'll be able to achieve my goals too. His eyes were full of madness. According to the agreement, he will help me eliminate all opposition forces in Konoha, help me become Hokage, build a 1,000-year empire with him, and rule the world together. However, just in case, my people will set up a seal technique to control the soul while imprisoning Chakra, the Minister of Summer. In this way, whether it is Spooky or Shajurching, you are all in my bag. This world will become my plaything in the palm of my hand. Chapter 672. It's dark under Danzo's lights. If Namikaze Minato knew about Danzo's idea, he would definitely kill Danzo in the cradle at any cost. But unfortunately, he doesn't know. He also thought that Danzang had seen it recently, so he had been quiet and inactive, not doing anything. Therefore, I don't pay so much attention to Danzo. This gave Danzo the opportunity to operate, black under the lights. But no matter what, if this plan of Danzo is really realized, the consequences are really unimaginable. Shajurching's body, coupled with the ghost's soul, how strong its strength is, maybe Shajurching himself doesn't know. But what Danzo may not know is that the sprite will be defeated so quickly by Shajurching. He also wouldn't know that the sprite was not possessed by Huang Quan. Instead, it was possessed by Jasmine, who was supposed to be a hostage, but had no effect. This also led to his plan, which did not go according to plan from the beginning. Moreover, he also did not expect that Shajurching would have the ability to write and read and write memory. So, when he thought everything was going according to his plan, everything has changed hands. The initiative of this action is already firmly in Shajurching's hands. What awaits Danzo will be death. Shajurching is here. He suddenly released a firework. Then, amid the dazed expressions of Anmura Nobuomi and the others, they started to form seals again, and the chakra aura on his body boiled extremely fast. But the next second, they will understand. Just the second after Shajurching released the fireworks, a group of shadows rushed out and surrounded Shajurching. However, when they saw that there was only Shajurching alone, and Huang Quan was still half dead, they were shocked. They suddenly realized that something was wrong, and they wanted to run away. But, since you're here, why do you have to leave? It's a pity that you have finally escaped with some witnesses. Shajurching grinned Isho, and then said coldly, Thunderbolt, Chidori. Ah! Suddenly there was a scream. All the men in black who rushed out were all wrapped in by thunder and lightning, and then instantly lost their combat effectiveness. All mobility has been stripped away. Shinmei, seal them all up, don't let them move at all. Shajirching ordered Enkyu Nobume to seal up these people. Yes. Anmura Nobumi responded, took out a scroll from her waist, threw it out, and said in a seal the magic circle, seal. Suddenly, a sealing bandage flew out and wrapped all these people in. Then, the next step is to go back. Shajirching looked in the direction of Konoha, showing an extremely cold smile. It's just that behind Shajirching, who didn't pay attention, there was a man in black who was looking at Shajirching and the others nervously, and didn't dare to come out for half a breath. He couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief until he was sure that Shajirching and the others had left. Then, I took out a scroll, quickly wrote a line on it, and summoned a ninja and let it take it away. After doing all this, the man in black wiped the cold sweat on his forehead and was about to get up and leave. Behind him, Shajirching's voice suddenly came. This little brother, is it too late to leave now? Chapter 673. Aren't you supposed to be dead? This man couldn't help being terrified, his whole body exploded. The pupils shrunk into needle-like shapes in an instant, completely unbelievable. PFF'd. Before he could react, a cold light pierced his chest and took his life. Before he fell down, he saw the bird he had just released, shot down by a thunder gun. The note above was also obtained by Shajirching. This time, the evidence is almost complete. Before his consciousness disappeared, he heard Shajirching's words. It's heartbreaking. Shajirching is so terrifying. Simply unpredictable. Looking at the dead man lying on the ground, Fujino Ling couldn't help laughing, and said with some contempt, don't you know that what teacher Shajirching is best at is exploration? Under the eyes of teacher Shajirching, I also want to mess around, you are afraid that you are dreaming. Then, Anmura Nobume sealed this person and took him away. Konoha village. What's the matter? Why does the old man suddenly feel an inexplicable feeling of panic? How is this possible? How could the old man feel this way? Did the plan go wrong? Impossible, my plan is flawless this time, and it can't go wrong. Tuanzang frowned, feeling a faint unease in his heart. And, as time went on, the unease got stronger and stronger. This made him feel a little uncomfortable. This kind of feeling is something he has never had before, and he is very uncomfortable. But, if nothing goes wrong, where does this uneasy feeling come from? After Danzo denied his guess, he couldn't think of where this uneasy feeling came from. Could it be that my plan was seen through by Shajirching? Danzo suddenly thought this way, only Shajirching can make Danzo feel like me. Because he is Shajirching, anything is possible. No, even if he is Shajirching, this time, the old man has the confidence to take him down. This old man will definitely succeed, he will definitely lose. The defeat is a crushing defeat. Because Jasmine is a hostage, he can only obediently admit defeat. Danzo said so comfortingly to himself. But, at this moment, he suddenly felt an unimaginable sharpness strike, which made him feel cold, and his hairs exploded. He couldn't help but change color, and hurriedly avoided it. Bah! The next moment, where he stood just now, was torn apart by a sharp light. Boom! This ray of light has terrifying destructive power, tearing everything along the way. No matter what it is, nothing can stop the invasion of this light. The entire root organization is thus divided into two. The light from the outside also projected in, bringing a ray of sunshine to this dark and damp root tissue. Who is it? Dare to attack Konoha consultant? Danzo roared hysterically. This kind of thing is just crazy provocation of His Majesty. Do you think that he is now in power, so it's good to bully him? It's me, Danzo. Immediately, a crisp and cold voice entered Danzo's ears. This voice made Danzang's eyes widen instantly, and the anger on his face suddenly turned into shock. He said in disbelief, Shajirching, you are not. It's not supposed to be dead, it's occupied by sprites, right? Shajurching interrupted him and said everything he wanted to say. Chapter 674. The purpose is obvious, to kill. HMPH, what nonsense are you talking about? How could the old man say such a thing? Danzo quickly calmed down and snorted coldly, pretending to be irrelevant. And such a big movement naturally attracted a lot of people all at once. But when they saw that the initiator of all these movements turned out to be the great hero Shajurching in their minds, many people couldn't help but feel a little stunned. I don't know what happened to Shajurching. Even those Anbu who heard the news were a little hesitant. It was not until a group of high-level officials came here that things became clear that Vivi had calmed down a bit. Shajurching, you are. Namikaze Minato looked at Shajurching with an unsightly expression, with a questioning look on his face. Obviously, kill. Shajurching cast a glance at Minato, but said something disgusting. You, Namikaze Minato was shocked when he heard the words. But he was interrupted by Shajurching before he finished speaking. Lord Hokage, don't be so excited, I'm just here to take revenge. As he spoke, he put Jasmine's body down and said to Minato Namaifung, please, Lord Hokage, if I have evidence that my sister Jasmine's death is directly related to Danzo, should he kill him? PNGT. Seeing Shajurching's face full of smiles, Minato Namikaze's heart sank. Of course, if revenge can't make you make up your mind, then, is the charge of colluding with foreign enemies and intending to murder Konoha enough to kill him? I think it should be enough. After finishing speaking, Shajurching had disappeared in place, and rushed directly to Danzang. Hi. Seeing Shajurching disappearing in place, Tuanzang's soul was scared away. He dared to murder Shajurching, but that didn't mean he really dared to face Shajurching. In front of Shajurching, he could not see the slightest possibility that he could escape. But this blow, before it fell on him, was stopped by someone. Bang! A specially made kunai stood in front of Shajurching. It was Namikaze Minato. He said solemnly, Shajurching, this matter still needs to be investigated to know the result, you can't kill him now. There are too many details in it, you can't just rely on your opinion to determine the facts. Furthermore, the crime of collusion with foreign enemies is too big to draw a conclusion without definite evidence. Even if there is evidence, you can't make a conclusion by yourself before it is confirmed to be true, but you can only come to a conclusion after a high-level discussion. Moreover, there is no evidence to prove that your sister's death is related to Danzo. Maybe this is the enemy's conspiracy. Hearing this, Shajurching smiled, with an extremely cold smile. Oh, Lord Hokage, are you doubting me? This is normal procedure. Shajurching, calm down. I know you are very excited about the death of your sister Jasmine, but now is not the time to be excited to solve the problem. It's about your excellency Danzo, it's a big deal, so you can't be so rash. Minato Namikaze was rather bitter. Haha, can I understand that my sister Jasmine's death is trivial? You don't intend to spend more time on this matter. Nor do you intend to let me kill Danzo to avenge her. Shajurching's expression was extremely cold, and every word was murderous. Chapter 675. My sister's life is not life. Danzo-sama is after all the old man of Konoha, you can't mess around like this. It's also Konoha's law to kill him, you can't do it without permission. Minato Namaifung insisted. This sentence completely ignited Shajurching's anger. With the identity of Elder Konoha, can you have privileges? Danzang killed so many people back then and conducted human experiments. When did the senior management agree? Now that he wants to kill Danzo, he needs the approval of the high-level meeting. What a joke, it won't work here with Shajurching. Danzo's dog's life is life, isn't Jasmine's life not life, is it lower than Danzo's life? No way. Ha ha ha, such a good old Konoha, good one can't mess around. Namaifung Minato, you are very good. Shajurching couldn't stop laughing, but the chakra aura on his body was constantly rising and rising. A terrifying oppression, murderous intent came out recklessly, suppressing a radius of several kilometers. Quote. Aha! Everyone only felt that their bodies suddenly became much heavier, and the scene in front of them became a sea of corpses and blood. Namaifung Manado, I have brought you all the evidence, believe it or not. Danzo's life is his life, and my sister Jasmine's life is also my life. Manado, I hope you will always remember this for me. I want to see, if you can't stop me today, can you protect the wicked and ulterior motives of Danzo? Of course, Namikaze Manado, I hope you can also bear the consequences of the battle. I hope you can say the same thing in Daimyo. Hey, I think the Daimyo of the Land of Fire should have seen the plan from Danzo by now. You said that if he knew that Danzo planned to unite with foreign enemies and rule the entire ninja world, what would he think? Seeing that Minato Namimo's face changed suddenly, Shajirching smiled, and a thunder gun stabbed Danzo who was planning to escape. Wind escape vacuum Jade. In the end, it is a group, and the strength is still there. This blow was blocked by him, and he rushed to the outside, shouting at the same time, he is a slander, this is what he constructed to frame me. You can't trust him, he is the scourge of Konoha, you trust him, Konoha will end sooner or later. But there was a hint of hesitation on the faces of everyone. Danzo's character, they are quite suspicious. Therefore, few people believe the truth of what he said. When his human experiment was discovered, he once swore that he didn't get involved, and he was slapped in the face. Therefore, few people believe him. Conservation Danzo consultant. Seeing this, Xiaochun couldn't help frowning when he turned to bed, and ordered the members of Anbu to say, Kakashi, you all go too. Jiraiya also instructed Kakashi and the others behind him. Although they all know Danzo's character. However, Shajirching's behavior is even worse. When can Konoha kill anyone casually? Moreover, the target is the veteran of Konoha like Danzo. As soon as this ethos emerges, if it is not killed at the beginning of the source, what will the ethos of Konoha look like in the future? Wouldn't the village be in chaos? In Konoha, follow the rules of Konoha. Besides, Jiraiya and Xiaochun were equally skeptical about Shajirching's words. Shajirching's methods are unfathomable, and the ghost knows whether he deliberately framed Danzo to achieve some of his goals. Chapter 676 I don't want to play now. As for the evidence, it is not impossible to forge. Especially for a master like Shajirching. In Jiraiya's eyes, Shajirching is in the high-level Konoha, and in the country of fire, and there is no shortage of talents around him. If you want to create some evidence, it is also possible to think about it. No way, don't blame Zilai for being so indiscriminate. It was because of Shajirching's existence that it was like an uncontrollable double-edged sword. Because it is uncontrollable, you must always be on guard. Just in case Shajirching did something unexpected to Konoha. Therefore, if Shajirching does anything, Jiraiya will also feel that he has no deep meaning. Not to mention such a thing. He immediately felt that this was a method used by Shajirching in order to eradicate dissidents. Even if Danzo really killed Jasmine, he would never let Shajirching kill Danzo. Because he still wants to keep Danzo to check and balance Shajirching. Although it is really mean to do so. But Jiraiya must do the same. For Konoha, he had to do this. No matter how beautiful the reality was, Jasmine's life was indeed inferior to Danzo in Jiraiya's heart. Because their values are completely different. If possible, Jiraiya really wanted to thank Shajirching for everything he did for Konoha, and he really thanked Shajirching. It's even possible to take his life. As long as Shajirching doesn't hurt Konoha's interests. But unfortunately, all of this is based on the fact that Shajirching can be understood. But the reality is that Shajirching has always been mysterious, and even Jiraiya has never seen through him. Therefore, Jiraiya, Namikaze Minato and others, who are committed to safeguarding the interests of the Will of Fire, are destined to be someone who is as powerful as Shajirching, but has never shown the same Will of Fire. And, irreconcilable. Aside from all this, Namikaze Minato can still be the great fourth Hokage who sacrificed for the village in the original book. Jiraiya, it could also be that Toda Mortal, who gave Naruto warmth. Finally, in order to help Konoha to explore the information of Pen's 6 paths and give up hope of escape, the romantic madman who drowned in the sea. Unfortunately, he forgot. If Jasmine doesn't die, Shajirching will never be able to be detrimental to Konoha. Affection is always stronger than means. But just like Jiraiya didn't trust Shajirching either. Shajirching couldn't trust the senior officials of Konoha either. Especially when dealing with Danzo. Deep 3 generations of appeasement policy, their favorite way to play is to compromise and reconcile as much as possible. And people like Danzo have a very high value of harmony. Therefore, Shajirching can almost guess what kind of result will be obtained when Danzo is handed over to Konoha's high-level management. There is about an 80% chance that the evidence will be destroyed by an inexplicable flame, and then Danzo will be imprisoned due to insufficient evidence. Danzo will not be executed. He may even be reinstated by an official one day. This kind of thing does not need to be practiced, and Shajirching can know it. He doesn't need practice either. He is a low-key person, which does not mean that he really has to be a humiliated person, and must always be like a Konoha ninja and abide by the rules of this Konoha. He has enough strength to ignore the rules, why should he abandon his feet? Originally settled in Konoha, he just played. And now, he doesn't want to play. Whoosh! Shajirching appeared in front of Jiraiya and the others. Looking at Danzo, who was being protected by Kakashi and a group of Anbu members, and showed a complacent look, Shajirching looked at Jiraiya mockingly. Chapter 677 Chilling, You White-Eyed Wolves. Your Majesty Jiraiya, I respect you from the bottom of my heart. So, to give you this high-level position, I have been doing my best to complete the tasks that I should have. Help the big family of Konoha to do what they can. It's better to quell the Nine Tails Rebellion, retreat from the invasion of Yun Ninja, retreat into the joint attack of the 3 major ninja villages, or help the economic development of Konoha. I have no regrets, and I am willing to be treated as a sword by you to clear all obstacles. Shajirching looked at Jiraiya and said with a firm expression, I ask you, have I ever failed you, Konoha? Zillai was also silent, with a complicated expression. He was completely unable to answer this question. Seeing Jiraiya's expression, Shajirching laughed and sneered, but in the end, you Konoha are prosperous. Is this how you treat me? Is this how you repay my hero? Shajirching gritted his teeth, murderous intent was awe-inspiring, and said coldly, in the face of the bloody reality, in the face of conclusive evidence, you still want to make me feel uncomfortable, do things that hurt my relatives and make my enemies happy. Could it be that I, Shajirching, are full of blood and feed the dogs? Shajirching roared, like a wounded lone wolf, roaring in the wilderness. Do you know what elder sister Jasmine means to me? She was the first person who gave me warmth, and she gave me a home. Without her, at this moment I may be the one who destroyed Konoha, believe me, I have that ability. But now, Danzang. Shajirching pointed at Danzang, and a cold lightning shot in his eyes. He personally destroyed everything for me. Don't you allow me to take revenge. Jiraiya, Minato Namikaze, and all of you, tell me. Should I take revenge for this? I'll give you time to think about the 3 numbers. After 3 numbers, it's heaven or hell, you choose. Shajirching stroked the flowing fire sword with the palm of his hand, and the words he said made everyone in the crowd look horrified. 1. 2. Shajirching's icy voice resounded in everyone's ears. Everyone can feel the cold murderous intent in Shajirching's tone, as well as the unresolved hatred. 3. When the 3 numbers were exhausted, he looked at the crowd and said, Come on, tell me your answers. Jiraiya's face was full of struggles, and in the end, he never issued an order to let Kakashi and others leave. This made Danzo, who was extremely nervous, heaving a sigh of relief. He looked at Shajirching again provocatively, as if to say, What if you are angry, it's not like you can't do anything to me. Behind Shajur-Ching, Namikaze Minato is even more ready for battle. Okay, this is your answer. If so, don't blame me for being rude. Nobumi Yasunori, stay out of the way. There are other students of mine, if you don't want to be embarrassed, just stay out of the way. Next, those who stand in front of me will all be my enemies. The long sword in my hand, the next one will not recognize people. When the words fell, more than a dozen people flashed out. Their faces were all determined, and they never hesitated. Then let the killing begin. Let me see if you can protect the people I want to kill now. Shajur-Ching squinted Isho, and the person has disappeared in place. Chapter 678 Peerless Force. Bang! He swiftly appeared in front of Kakashi, waiting for him to do anything. A fist of thunderlight blasted in all directions, violently blasting him out, directly smashing his sternum. Seeing this, Matekai wanted to rush up, but when Shajur-Ching knew about the illusion, he froze in place. Then, he was slashed with a knife and seriously injured. Then, his body released a strong lightning current, which paralyzed Asuma Sarutobi, Kurenai Yuhi and others who had no time to escape. Overlord's spiritual shock. After breaking through the defenses of Kakashi and the others, a group of Anbu rushed forward. Shajur-Ching blasted out a Conqueror Haki, and in an instant, the four sides became quiet, and then, half of the people fell unconscious. Danzo, where do you want to escape? Seeing that Danzo was in a bad situation, he wanted to run away. How could Shajur-Ching make him do what he wanted? Spiral pills. But Namikaze Minato reappeared and blocked the blow. In this case, I can only capture you. Jiraiya's voice also came from behind Shajur-Ching. I saw that he quickly formed the seal, and when he was about to release the ninjutsu, he saw that Shajur-Ching had turned around and swung a terrifying sword wave with one knife, which made him can't help but retreat. Hey! Namikaze Minato appeared behind Shajur-Ching again, and pressed a spiral pill. Chidori. Shajur-Ching suddenly turned around, and the speed was so fast that even Minato Namaifung could not have expected it, and he collided with Shajur-Ching's blow. But he soon felt the difficulty. He knew that if he continued to fight, he would definitely be injured by Shajur-Ching, so he wanted to use the Flying Thunder God to leave. But how could these little actions of his be concealed from Ching-Ching? Don't forget, Shajur-Ching's reaction speed is faster than his. Illusion Gold Binding. Minato Namikaze's action was stagnant for a while. He shouted badly, and quickly used the nine-tailed chakra to break through the illusion and wanted to evacuate. However, Shajur-Ching would not give him such a chance. Chidori Sharp Gun. Shajur-Ching stabbed Minato Nagamo in the chest with a shot, and the thunderbolt of the thunderbolt suddenly made Minato scream out in agony. The other hand, but it has already emerged with a rolling power, rumbled out of the sky, Rokushiki, 6 styles 6 King's Spear. Bang! Namikaze Minato finally understands the taste of the nine tails back then. PFF'd. This punch seems to contain the power to destroy everything. That terrifying and destructive power is simply not something that Minato Namikaze can compete with. The chest was completely sunken, chakra was completely disorganized, almost lost consciousness, and was hit hard in an instant. His Flying Thunder God second rank, and the power of the nine tails didn't have time to use at all, so there was no chance. Shajur-Ching, you have too many flaws in your back, let me die. Danzang actually appeared behind Shajur-Ching, holding a sword of wind exuding a sharp breath, and stabbed Shajur-Ching. Be careful. Seeing this scene, Anmura Nobumi and the others couldn't help being shocked, and hurriedly reminded them. But in front of Shajur-Ching, Jiraiya appeared again, holding a big jade spiral pill in his hand, forcing Shajur-Ching not to take care of both ends. He actually wanted to cooperate with Tuanzang to severely damage Shajur-Ching. Desperate, surrounded Shajur-Ching. No. Seeing this scene, Nobumi Anmura could not help but let out a shrill cry. But the next moment, her voice stopped in summer. Chapter 679 Endless Grace. Bang! The Shajurching that I saw was completely unavoidable, and did not even make any confrontation. Just covering the surface of the body with a layer of lightning armor, it resisted the attack of the two. He himself was unscathed, and his expression was calm. How is it possible? Not to mention Danzo, even Jiraiya can't help but feel numb in the scalp. Directly against the Daiyu spiral pill, what a freak. The defense is too terrifying. Why? Surprised, Shajurching raised her head and grinned Isho at Jiraiya, but Jiraiya's heart was cold. Fire escape. He wanted to release the attack, but Shajurching's eyes lit up, and a magic shackle technique was trapped. PFF'd. PFF'd. Two piercing sounds came. However, Jiraiya, who was made by illusion, and Danzo, who was in bad shape behind Shajurching, were pierced in their chests at the same time. Jiraiya was also pierced by the fire sword, and Danzo was pierced by the Chidori sharp spear. Seeing this, the surrounding ninjas all rushed over, trying to stop Shajurching. Shish. Faced with this situation, Shajurching pulled out the flaming fire sword, and several sword waves raged out, forcing them all to evade and retreat. And he, instantly deceived himself, came to the paralyzed Danzo, and smiled proudly. The person Shajurching wants to kill, even God can't protect, pay for my sister Jasmine's life. No. Danzo screamed in horror, but to no avail, the long sword turned into a cold light and cut off his head. The terrified look on his face solidified like this, and blood spattered into the sky. Then, Shajurching lifted the bandage on his body, and he was relieved after confirming that he had not transplanted the writing wheel. Then he came to Jiraiya and said, Lord Jiraiya, you really disappointed me. I thought you could at least argue between black and white, but now it seems that it's my wishful thinking. Forget it, since I missed it, goodbye. See you next time, it's the enemy. Shajurching squinted his eyes, full of mockery. Oh, by the way, you might as well interrogate these lackeys and see what's in their minds, will it be interesting? And these evidences, whether I forged them, let's see what happened. After checking it out, let's see if it's me being lawless and wanton. Or some people are deceiving people too much. Shajurching glanced at Anmura Nobuomi, who immediately threw a scroll to Jiraiya. Inside, there are the bodies of Huang Quan and others, as well as the bodies of members of the Root organization. And some other epistolary evidence. If you want to go with me, just follow me. If you don't want to go, just stay in Konoha. I won't force you. Shajurching turned her back to Anmura Nobume and the others, and said indifferently. We will go wherever Mr. Shajurching goes. The three said without the slightest hesitation, and left behind Shajurching. The three of them knew very well that without Shajurching, they would not be where they are today. Besides, after what happened today, they couldn't stay in Konoha any longer. Teacher Shajurching, please bring us too. Several of those ninjas who had been taught by Shajurching also gritted their teeth and left with Shajurching. Of course, there are others who haven't left. He just lowered his head in shame, not daring to look at Shajurching. Chapter 680 Konoha Those things. Don't be ashamed, you all have your scruples, I'm just going my way. Everyone meets by chance, and no one owes anyone anything. As if he knew what these people were thinking, Shajurching said something like this. Work hard to prove your worth, this world is cruel. The last sentence, I don't know if it is a warning or an exhortation, but it does make people fall into deep thought. Shajurching, do you have to be like this? Since you have evidence, why can't we wait until we confirm the evidence and determine Danzo's guilt before making a decision? When the time comes, it's not that we can't let you do it with your own hands. Why is there such a commotion? Zilai also asked with a bitter face. I'll ask you, can you really make up your mind to kill Danzo? Your Excellency Jiraiya. Shajurching turned around and asked sarcastically. Jilai was also at a loss for words. His answer was of course, no. His choice will probably make big things small and small things. Because he wants to keep Danzo to check and balance Shajurching. Shajirching laughed even more sarcastically, and said, since you won't kill Danzo, what else is there to say? Besides, you Konoha executives have done this not once or twice. For the so-called checks and balances and unwarranted suspicions, a lot of people have been sacrificed. White Fang back then, my sister today, go further, the Uchiha clan, go a little further, Uchiha Madara. Shajirching sneered. If you didn't suspect Uchiha Madara back then, your Hashima village chief would not have died early, and your Konoha could prosper for decades. Of course, I may be wrong about this, but about White Fang, it must be. Just because of his high power, you forced him to commit suicide. You guys are too embarrassed and have the heart. A group of white-eyed wolves, it's really sad that White Fang died. Is it wrong to save a companion? People who don't pay attention to their companions are not as good as trash. Others didn't respond much to this sentence, but Kakashi was struck by lightning, and then tears blurred his vision. In his heart, there are even more mixed flavors. It turned out that what his father did was right. Shajirching continued to speak, and the Uchiha family, why are you always worried that others will rebel? Just relying on the Nine Tails Rebellion, you can be sure that this matter is related to them. So, indiscriminately, they drove them to the border, and let them do the work of the most offending guard force. Instead, it is not good for your high-level Konoha employer. Wake up, you treat all of them as Madara Uchiha, play the Nine Tails as a monkey, and control if you want. At that time, why didn't I see you talking about evidence? Why, you guys like double standards so much? Shajirching sneered. I don't understand, do you have any misunderstandings about me, a mere Konoha, do you really think I like it? Defend me like a thief all day, but when it's my job, I can't wait to drain me. I'm curious, where did you guys come from, and think I should dedicate to you Konoha? Shajirching said contemptuously, tell you guys, I've watched you fight and intrigue all day long. I want to laugh and even want to vomit. If I had a plan against Konoha, did you stop it? Did he stop it?